Hey guys, it's Mandals here to ask which middle stage evolution Pokemon are my all-time favorites. People often praise first stage evolution Pokemon because they're cute or simplistic in design. Alternatively, people like to put up on a pedestal fully evolved Pokemon because they're menacing, cool looking, or just powerful. But hold on a minute, where's all the love for the guys in the middle? You know, the Pokemon going through puberty essentially. The ones transitioning through that awkward phase that makes them look unnaturally bulbous or incomplete. Okay, I suppose with a description like that, it's no wonder they don't get as much attention. And that's fair, a lot of middle stage Pokemon do fall short compared to their cousins. But on another hand, there are some that look/are amazing and even surpass their final form in my opinion. Those are the Pokemon that we are going to look at today, and I know it should go without saying by now, but almost everything on this list derives entirely from my opinion. If you in fact disagree with my video, let me know down in the comments which middle evolutions are your favorite. Don't you worry, middle bros, I'm here to justify your existence. Roll the video.
Number 10. Doowat. Middle stage starter Pokemon have proven to be difficult to design for Game Freak a number of times in the past. I mean, they certainly didn't do Grottle or Pignite any favors. Doowat, in my opinion, is a middle stage starter Evo done right. First off, I would like to praise the Pokemon's perfect design blend of Stone Cold Ninja and Drop Dead Cute Otter. In fact, I'd even go as far to say that its design beats both its evolution and pre-evolution. Oshawott is cute, but almost feels like a rehashed Piplup, and Samurott just feels way less threatening and ninja-like with its quadruped stance. Doowat is nice in the fact that it takes the idea of Oshawott using its shell to attack, but the Pokemon dual-wield shells this time, giving off a much more intense fighter vibe. As for Samurott, I really don't know what went wrong here. I guess I just expected something much more samurai-esque and less whatever this is. As far as I'm concerned, Doowat pulls off the Otter Ninja hybrid the best out of the three. Number 9. Swaddlehoon. You ever have one of those days where your body just refuses to get up? You know, those days where you just want to slink back into the abyss and be consumed by a big, mushy blanket burrito? Well, Swaddlehoon is basically the embodiment of this idea, and I just think that's beautiful. Okay, perhaps it is a long shot to think that Game Freak had the same idea that I have when this Pokemon was conceptualized, but that's how I'm choosing to interpret this, okay? Just look at it. It's so grumpy yet cozy, and yeah, I just love it. I just want to snuggle up against it and enjoy some hot cocoa. We were clearly made for each other. Look, you're not going to hear me lecture about how awesome of a battler this Pokemon is or anything like that, because my love for Swaddlehoon is entirely based off its design. Is that a bad thing though? I don't think so. If it's fun to look at, then what's the issue? And its evolution and pre-evolution are far more uninspired in my opinion, so Swaddlehoon is the one I'm gonna praise, even if it is a pissed off little orb. Number 8. Spewpa. Much like Swaddlehoon, Spewpa is a Pokemon that once I lay eyes on, I just want to hug on it and love it and it's such a little bundle of cute. And this may come as a huge shocker to some of you, but this second stage bug Pokemon is actually a terrible battler. How could this be? All early stage bug Pokemon are as overpowered as they come. Whatever. It's just fortunate that I couldn't care less about Spewpa's battling capabilities. I base my love off of this Pokemon by going off of the how much do I want to hug this thing factor. And if I were scoring Spewpa by how huggable it was, you'd better believe it's getting a 10 out of 10. This truly is the world's coziest looking Pokemon. And it's impenetrable too. According to the Pokedex, birds can't even get through Spewpa's fur. That's just gosh darn adorable. Also, this Pokemon's name is just fun to say. Go ahead, say it a few times, I'm sure you'll get a kick out of it. Also, shout out to my boy for making it into Smash Bros. Did I mention I love Spewpa? Okay, sorry, I'm done now. Number 7. Grovyle. Now this is a trio that I'm actually pretty fond of in its entirety. They're all so smug looking and on top of that, very slick. However, if I had to pick one and crown it the slickest of them all, I would ultimately give that title to Grovyle. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of Sceptile, but its design is a bit weaker than Grovyle's in my opinion. Sceptile looks a little bit clumsier and has a few details that make it look too convoluted. Its tail is oddly bushy, and I feel like the balls on its back are just there for the sake of adding more stuff to it. Again, I love this Dragon Gecko, but it's for these reasons that I end up liking its pre-evolution more. Trico is great too, but doesn't have the pizzazz that lures me in with Grovyle's case. Grovyle just looks so clean. The leaves on its arms, leaf running down the back of its head, and color scheme is really pleasant to look at. And the Pokemon also gets brownie points for playing a pretty interesting role in the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series. Grovyle's overall just one cool lizard. Number 6. Floette. Out of the 3 Pokemon amongst this fairy flower trio, in my eyes, Floette has the winner design. Flabebe's is quite good, and the Pokemon is cuter than a bowl of Rowlets. Okay, definitely not that cute, but you get the picture. Floette's design is far more attention-grabbing though. And Florges, well, let's just say it kind of lost me. Don't get me wrong, the Pokemon is lots of fun to battle with, but I'm not too keen on the premise that the Pokemon has become one with the flower. I don't know, it's a bit much. Floette is perfect, however. Not only is it neat that this tiny being uses its flower to float around, but it's also cool that this imagery resembles a woman with a parasol, a theme common in some pieces of French art. And the fact that this further emphasizes the French theme that X and Y was going for is simply awesome. Floette even plays a big role in X and Y's story, and let's just say I cry every time. Specifically, it's Floette's eternal form that fills this role, which looks much darker and sinister, and more importantly, badass. I've just got so much love for this little flower dweller. Number 5, Chargebug. Up next is the living meme itself, Chargebug. You may not remember it at this point, but there was a time when Pokemon Sun and Moon news was far and in between, and Chargebug had a ton of internet fame. This brick of a bug has been compared to every inanimate object in the book, and rightfully so. Have you looked at this thing? It's hilarious looking. This little guy is cube-shaped to a ridiculously funny degree. It's not even that getting a good laugh out of the Pokemon is the only thing it has to offer, too. It has other cool elements, like the fact that it's a bug electric type and that it's modeled after a battery. Believe me, he's a cube for a reason that goes beyond the memes. When compared to his brethren, I found that Vikavolt and Grubbin just don't have what it takes to live up to Chargebug's legendary status. Vikavolt is cool looking and Grubbin is a cutie, but are they buses? No. Lastly, to put a little more icing on the cake, Chargebug's cry sounds like a little accordion. Terrific. Number 4, Dragonair. Alright, let's head in a less meme-y direction and focus on a Pokemon that you have to appreciate for its raw elegance and beauty. Dragonair has always been a Pokemon that people wish kept its design consistency when it evolved, and I don't blame them. Look at this guy, absolutely marvelous looking. But instead, what does Dragonair evolve into? No, it's not a long, blue, wyvern-like serpent like Dragonair would lead you to believe, but instead a orange fat dragon? I mean, no disrespect, Dragonite is great in its own regard, but seriously, who saw that coming? I, for one, am more of a fan of Dragonair's concept. It's simple, yet unlike anything else we've ever seen. And it's the simple things that really make me appreciate Dragonair. The orbs attached to its tail and neck, its little horn, and the wings on the sides of its head all do a lot to complement the look of Dragonair. To conclude, I should note that I'm a little bit nostalgic over Dragonair. One of my first Pokemon cards that I can remember owning was a Dragonair. And later on, I got myself a Dark Dragonair, and I really thought that was the bee's knees. Number 3, Quill Lava. Dragonair might have elicited some sort of nostalgia in me, but Quill Lava really cranks up the nostalgia dial. Kick back because it's story time. So one of the first games I ever owned was a copy of Pokemon Silver. Upon slapping that bad boy into my Game Boy, I picked my starter Pokemon. I think you can tell where this is going. Me and this fire hedgehog went on all sorts of adventures together in Silver version. Mostly, well, because I refused to train anything else. And even though I became acquainted with all 3 of these guys, Quill Lava is the Pokemon I found myself most attached to. After all, he was the one who helped me annihilate the hellspawn known as Whitney, and he'd stick around for a while after that before he evolved into a Typhlosion. On top of that, Quill Lava was one of the first Pokemon I obtained in Pokemon Coliseum, which is one of my all-time favorite games. And ultimately, Quill Lava's design is just fun. The bursts of fire where the Pokemon's quills should be is very creative. Quill Lava just oozes greatness. Number 2, Poliwhirl. While I'm not quite as nostalgic about this Pokemon as some of the other entries, I simply can't deny that Poliwhirl is one high-quality dude. For starters, I'm a huge fan of this Pokemon's goofy aesthetic. It's got a certain carefreeness and dopiness that you just can't get anywhere else, and you definitely won't get it from Poliwhirl's other evolution stages. Poliwag has a cute tadpole theme going on with it, but its design isn't nearly as fun. Secondly, Poliwrath looks like a beefier, angrier Poliwhirl with fighting type haphazardly thrown onto it. Thirdly, Politoed is... whatever, it's a frog, I guess, who cares? My point is, none of them have the charisma that this swirly tadpole has. And hey, don't believe me? Just ask Time magazine. Poliwhirl is so legendary that he's smack dab right on the cover of one of their magazines. Look at that! Bask in his glory. Oh, and not to mention, the Pokemon also came in the form of those cool gold Burger King toys, so A+ for that. Screw legendary Pokemon, this Pokemon is legendary in its own right. Number 1, Haunter. Now, I could possibly be in the minority on this one, but when it comes to my favorite middle stage evolution Pokemon, Haunter takes the gold. Fun fact, there was actually a time when Haunter was my favorite Pokemon. Initially, I thought that was probably just because of my edgelord phase, but after thinking about it a bit more, I've come to the conclusion that there's more to it than that. Haunter has a design that I still very much enjoy. Haunter takes the idea of a generic ghost and makes it much more exciting. Its purple shade, spiky back, and big hulking hands that just sort of float in front of Haunter are all super subtle features, but come together to form one glorious combination. To this day, whenever I obtain a Haunter, I never want to trade to evolve it because Gengar is nowhere near as cool in my eyes. Plus, my buddy Haunter here, he's a comedic genius. The anime episode that it debuts in never ceases to make me laugh with the Pokemon's funny voice and slapstick humor. Thanks for watching, guys. While you're still here, I should mention that you should follow me on Twitch, where I'll be doing mostly daily streams from this point forward. Also, be sure to check out my Twitter if you want to be updated about future videos. Links are in the description. Also, hey, hit that subscribe button if you liked what you saw. That's all for now, folks. Until next time, peace.